There it is. Full time. In Belgium, it has finished. Genk 2, West Ham United 2. The Hammers suffering a horror first half. Bit late for Halloween, but that's a bit how it felt in the opening 45 minutes. West Ham falling behind as early as the 40-minute paint seal, getting away behind Diop and firing across Areola to give the home side the lead, after which it was quite surprising that West Ham didn't concede more in that first half. Really, really not at the races, the Hammers, until the last 2 or 3 minutes when Ben Rama and Rice went very, very close to equalising for the break. It wasn't to be. West Ham went in at the interval a goal behind. But it wasn't long before the Hammers were back on level terms. Ben Rama it was, converting a Soufal cross to make it 1-1. And then with just 8 minutes to go, West Ham took the lead for the first time on the evening. Ben Rama scoring again. Wonderful, wonderful solo goal, picking up the ball 30 yards from goal, running towards the box and then firing inside the near post ahead of Van der Voort to put West Ham ahead. And it looked like West Ham should really have gone on to secure the win then, but 3 minutes from the end of normal time and the home side equalised. It was, we think, I mean, looking through my notes, I don't think, as Gnome pointed out earlier in the commentary, possibly their first effort on target in the entire second half. It was a cross towards the near post. Thomas Souček got up. Not for the first time he scored an own goal from that position. We'll come back to that in the post-match discussion. Trying to remember who it was he did it against before. But it was a brilliant header, to be fair, from Souček, but unfortunately at the wrong end of the pitch. And that was the final real effort of the game. And that's how it finished. West Ham's 100% record in Europe going. That's 3 wins and a draw now from our 4 outings so far. 10 points, leaving us 6 points clear of Genk and a minimum of 4 points clear, I think, of either the teams that are playing later on this evening, Zagreb and Vienna. But there it is. West Ham really not at the races in the first half, far, far superior in the second half, but having to settle for a share of the spoils in the end. Gnome, was that a fair result, in reflection, looking at the whole game in its entirety?
Yeah, I suppose. Although, I mean, we were terrible first half. There's no whitewashing this. It was Diop. I'll let Pinky go into more eloquence about Diop than I will, but he had a poor game. And there's just the one bright spot that as Pinky mentioned, we came into it a lot more towards the end, last 5 or 10 minutes. And Ben Rama picking up the ball and running at players was the key to that. They didn't look happy at that. When we then got to the situation where the 3 substitutions were made, and I think you're a bit unfair on Ben Rama saying, "Oh, he's been good since the 3 subs came on." He was the one bright spot before that. The 3 subs just gave him something extra to bolster it, because he was getting no real support from around him.
Do you mean in the second half or in the entire game? Yeah.
It was running at players, but Masuaku wasn't sort of coming inside to help if he was going down the middle. Yeah. Masuaku was pretty much anonymous, and again, Noble, bless him, is always slightly more defensively minded. The number of times when he's got the ball, his first look is back sometimes, and you think, no, look the other way once in a while. You've got stuff in front of you that might be useful. And that was the right move. I don't think it was good to have Rice and Noble together. I don't think that particularly works.
Yeah.
So Souček coming on was good in that, although obviously, bless him, in trying to block the cross, got an oggy against his name. So overall, well, I mean, at half-time we'd have been happy with the point. At full-time we're disappointed not to have had 3, because the chances we should have stuck away.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
All right. Thank you, Thank you very much. Rio, would you go along with that? We were pretty desperate here, weren't we, at half-time, a goal behind, and I think as Gnome rightly said, at that point we'd all have accepted a point. But given the the superiority West Ham enjoyed in that second half and the number of chances we created, I guess we've got to be disappointed at coming away and, seeing our 100% record finally disappear, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I say the first half was probably the worst 45 minutes of football I've seen us put in for well over a year.
Yeah.
You can look at 9 out of the 11 players on that pitch, and you would have taken most of them off if you could. Second half was a complete turnaround. We absolutely battered Genk, and we did it with a plum. We was playing some nice football, knocking the ball around really well. They didn't have a sniff, and they still didn't. So to lose, to draw in the manner that we have done, incredibly disappointing. But any point away in Europe, you can't really be that gutted by it because it's pretty new for most of these players out there, and we haven't lost. We're firmly at the top of that group. We could still automatically qualify, I think, tonight. May not be in the first place that we're desperate for, but we could still qualify. And the way that the mentality of that team, the way that the coaches pumped into them that first half was unacceptable. The way that the players responded and turned it around and put on such a good performance in the second 45, it was good comeback from us. I'd also like to congratulate the forum members as well, because their reaction to the Thomas Souček own goal, once you pick out the parts where which completely X-rated, there's some great comments there. So well done, forum members. We'll delve into that in a moment.
We certainly shall. Let's before we do that, let's just take a quick look back at the 3 second half goals, and we'll start with the first one. It was 59 minutes on the clock. West Ham had started much stronger in the second half, and just 2 minutes after Bowen Fornells and Souček had come on for Michail Antonio, Arthur Masuaku, and Mark Noble, and it was Ben Rama's goal. Gnome. It was a cross from Soufal, but Ben Rama, as you said, had, probably been the man most likely to out of the West Ham team, and good finish to put us on level terms.
Yeah, it was a well-worked goal. For once, I mean, the number of times we got into decent places, decent positions out wide, and then the cross had been pulled back behind people or played straight into a Genk defender. The pullback from Soufal was just perfect. It was straight there. There you go, Ben Rama, all yours. Keeper didn't cover himself in glory, perhaps, but that was a function of the fact that Ben Rama was in a position to take the shot. So, well worked goal, but it had been coming. Second half, it had been coming. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you'll have the stats and all that, but the second half. If you take Souček out of the equation, I don't think Genk had a shot on target, did they?
No, I think you're right. I'm just looking at the stats now. I mean, they had 14 shots overall and 5 on target. I think that was all before the halftime interval. So I think you're probably right.
It's just annoying and frustrating that it took us 45 minutes of abject rubbish to, actually play the way we should have been playing. We've just got the players applauding the away support and giving lots of waves. I think we're going to get David Moyes very shortly. Let's have a look. Right. They're just confirming that if there's a win in the other game tonight, that will mean that West Ham will qualify because one or other of the teams, the losing team, will be out of contention somewhere along the line. I believe that's the case. I haven't done the maths, so if that's wrong, blame my interpretation of BT's version of subtitles.
All right. Well, we'll run with that. I mean, Genk must be on 4 points now. We'll be on 10 with 2 games to go. You'd imagine they could catch us. Whoever wins tonight would be on 6, wouldn't they? So they could certainly catch us and go beyond. So perhaps it's because those teams are playing each other that means that we can't get caught. But anyway, we'll clarify that in due course. 1-1. Anyway, the goal from Ben Rama, and then 8 minutes from time, Rio. We'd been asking all the questions, hadn't we, until that point? Lots of chances, half chances, couldn't quite put it away. And then touch of brilliance from Said Benrahma, picking up the ball 25, 30 yards from goal and finding the net and giving us what looked like it would be the winning goal.
Yeah, most definitely. As Gnome pointed out, he was the bright spark all night. Even out from the attacking options in the first half, he stood out. But that was an absolute touch of class, wasn't it? Did the defender completely, made him not an absolute mug, rolled the ball into the penalty box. And again, the keeper, I think, was at fault. The keeper should have done a lot better than that. But it's a fantastic finish. And it capped off a really good performance by Said Benrahma, who, as I pointed out, last few games in the league, he's not been shining, to say the least. But tonight would have done in a world of good. 2 good goals, a lot of confidence. And he was that attacking bright spark for most of the game tonight.
Certainly was. And as we said, it looked like that would be the goal that would give West Ham all 3 points at a full successive Europa League win. Alas, it was not to be, because with just 3 minutes of normal time left to go, Gnome, a cross came in from the right. You know, we've said it. It was really a rare attacking break from the hosts in the second period. And Thomas Souček rose like a salmon at the near post and didn't really glance at the header past Areola, but it was more like a thunderbolt of a header. Two questions for you, really. Firstly, did he need to go for it at all? And secondly, is that the greatest own goal you've ever seen by a West Ham player?
Firstly, the ball's been hit across fairly quick, at him from not a hell of a long, and it's one of those ones where your instinct is to go and try and block it out. It's so it wasn't a case of him saying, "Oh, here comes the ball. Shall I go for it or not?" It happened so fast that you're just going to go for it. So whether or not he needed to, well, who knows? Because we're not quite sure how far that would have gone. They'll show it again in a minute, and maybe I'll come to a more definitive answer. Okay. Was that the greatest own goal? Not exactly. What about Ian Dowie? I mean, you know, Ian Dowie trying to head the ball one way and it going off the other. Yeah. So
well, the reason I asked the question is because someone's made that exact point already on Twitter. Nick posting on Twitter just a few moments ago has just said that he thinks it was better than Dowie's, which is why I asked the question. You're not having it though. No,
because he was, he was trying to get a block in. It's just he didn't quite get it. It just flew off at a slightly wrong angle. I mean, it was roughly the right angle because he wanted it to go in that general direction to try and put it out for a corner. But with Dowie was trying to head it that way, and it just flew off that way. Yeah.
Yes, fair enough. Fair enough.
Souček will be gutted, but he was, he was doing a defensive job there, and it's one of those things. Joe Cole's just talking about it there now. So got the point is, I think about the converse thing where you've got that cross coming in, and if Souček sort of ducks out of it and someone in the middle scores, what you got to say then?
Yeah, I mean, the point, of course, is if it's really Areola's call there, isn't it? Areola can see what's behind Souček, and if he wants him to leave it, he's got to give him a shout. And presumably there wasn't a call, which is why Souček went for the header. And it's just one of those things.
Possibly for Areola to start. I just had a look at it there a second ago, and it was kind of going. It was at pace, and it was going behind. Now, Monoachi was probably the closest, but I think it might have gone behind him. But Souček's got 0.01 seconds to do that. Do you want to come back to me? We've got Cresswell on now, so I'll listen to what he's got to say.
Okay. While Gnome's off listening to the sage words of Aaron Cresswell, I'll come back to Rio. Rio, we touched on it a few minutes ago. You said it was the worst 45 minutes you think you've seen from West Ham in at least a year. Why did David Moyes get it so wrong tonight?
I think I think tinkering with, I think because we kind of started with a back three. It didn't last long because we were so poor, we reverted to the four. But I think that little bit of a tinkering, that little bit of taking players slightly out of position, it took us a while to adjust. I mean, I think there's tired minds, there's tired bodies out there. I understand when Pinky said that only 4 of them are regular starters, but we still played a lot of cup games already. I think it's our 5th or 6th game in the cup this season. There's still a lot. When you contribute into league games as well, a tiny squad is showing signs of wear and tear already. But there's kind of a little bit of complacency, a slight tactical shift. But we just didn't look at all up for it. We afforded far too much time and space to Genk. They pressed really hard, which didn't let us settle at all. Because normally we kind of like to settle a little bit, pass the ball around, find our feet. They didn't let us do that at all. So fair play to them for getting their tactics right again. And they did that in the first half of the corresponding fixture. Mm. But our passing and our defensive shape were all over the shop to start with, and it cost us dearly.
What, in your view, was it that made the difference in the second half? Because, I mean, clearly the introduction of Bowen, Fornells and Souček made a difference. In Souček's case, not necessarily a positive one in the end, but, we'd started well. Even prior to that, we looked much stronger. What was the main difference for you between the first and the second halves?
It was the mentality of the players for me. We actually attacked with intent. We actually held the ball, held possession for like more than 30 seconds or so. And we was growing into the game. But then, and this is what worries me a little bit, we resorted to the same players coming on to make a difference. We've seen Fornells and Bowen come on once more in a cup competition and have to kind of utilise them once more to kind of exert any kind of real authority on the game. And, it's a long season in front of us still. It's only November already. There's another 5-6 months to come. You can't keep relying on your same core players to come on and change the game week in, week out, twice a week. So that's a little bit of a worry. I know we was missing a couple of players tonight. I mean, people criticise Andrei Yarmolenko, but I think in his European size, he'd be the ideal kind of person to have up front. A lot of experience, a lot of guile, knows where the goal is. Also, Nikola Vlasic, I mean, he's not set the world alight since he's been to us, but when we utilise him a little bit more like we did against Manchester City last week and allow him into the game a little bit more, right, he kind of stood out. I think last Wednesday was his best performance for us. But we are lacking in numbers and we're relying on the same core of players to kind of dig us out of trouble and change the mentality, the way we approach things.
I think that's a very good point. I mean, we didn't even touch on Yarmolenko, did we, during the game? And when we mentioned that Vlasic would almost certainly have been playing had he been available tonight, we're still not quite sure why he wasn't available. We'll try and get to the bottom of that before the end of the show. Yarmolenko, of course, has been playing pretty well in Europe for West Ham, not available. So it's not just, it's not just a case of we were missing your Boners, your Zoomers and players like that, first team starters. There were a couple of others who would normally have been playing in Europe that weren't available. So it's a very good point. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you point out that you felt the biggest change there was one of attitude, and not necessarily something that I guess Moyes can control. I mean, I guess you can G your players up to a certain degree, but at the end of the day, it's got to come down to them, and they've got to have the appetite for the game, and certainly didn't seem to be the case in the first half. Anyway, Gnome has been listening to Aaron Cresswell being interviewed after the game.
Well,
what did he have to say, Gnome?
Well, I'll come back to that in a minute. We've got Declan Rice on now, so just to see if he's able to go back to me. So we've got Declan Rice on now. I'll paraphrase it, go through it. Right. We're just disappointed. Obviously, we knew it was going to be a tough night. We knew they'd be better than they were in the first game. And I thought it was a real end-to-end game. Enjoyable playing, but frustrated to give away that goal at the end. He's been asked what he made of the team's overall performance. First 20, we were poor. We couldn't get to grips with the formation, the way they were playing. As soon as they made that tactical switch, we got it. We created more chances. We could have scored 1 or 2 in the first half. In the second half, there were so many we could have scored, but didn't. So we started with the back 5, but Manu was Lanzini was the focal point, but it wasn't working. It's our first time in Europe. We need to find different ways to deal with the opposition. He's just been told if there's a win in the other group game tonight, he'll be through. Yeah, it feels good. We've still got 2 tough games. We've still got to play Zagreb at home, but we want to finish top. We don't want to finish second. We want to proceed to the next round, which is obviously you bypass a round there. He's now being asked about Ben Rama, and I know what he can do. You need to tell him that he'll be the best man on the pitch and that he can do whatever he wants. And I just want him to keep doing what he's doing, keep expressing himself, keep having the fun he does on the pitch. And he scored 2 great goals and really bailed us out.
Okay, excellent.
He's been asked if they've done anything for for David Moyes' 1,000 game. We've all signed a shirt for him. I spoke to him yesterday about it. He said he played about 600 games as a player, so now he's got 1,000 as a manager. So I asked him if he was stressed. He said he's just a great guy, just disappointed we couldn't win for him tonight. Still talking about Moyes. I don't know if Moyes is actually going to come out. But Declan's saying he gets the best out of every player. He can tell you straight how it is, and you need that as a player. You don't want everything to be plain sailing all the time. If he stops shouting at you, that means he doesn't care about you. The more he shouts at us, the more he wants us to improve. But away from the pitch, you can sit down and talk with him. He's a top guy. So a lot of love there for Mr. Moyes from the Rice camp. And he's now being asked to find it. The fact you can overtake Liverpool on Sunday must be quite exciting. He says, well, we know what Liverpool are like. They're world-class top players all around the pitch. It's the last game before the international break. So let's go out there and give it everything. What have we got to lose? So, there you go, Declan Rice, ladies and gentlemen. Earlier on, Aaron Cresswell was saying much as we were saying. It was frustrating. We were poor, sloppy. Didn't actually hold on to the ball very well in the first half. Second half, we were a lot tighter. We got the ball moving around properly. Passing was better. And again, we're frustrated that late equaliser was conceded. So pretty much what we've been saying.
Okay. Good stuff. I'm just sorry. I'm just seeing a couple of things come through which are a little bit disappointing actually on social media. I mean, firstly, I'm going to touch on them because they will be mentioned. So we won't go into any great depth, but there's a video that's been posted of West Ham fans on a flight to the game abusing a Jewish chap, and then Jack Elderton, of course, who you know from the KUMB podcast, has put a message out tonight just to say that this was a great day. I was going to write something lovely about our fans, and then I hear the worst chant I've ever seen them sing. I've ever heard them sing. Sorry. Just as I won't be typing it out, it's enough to say I'm ashamed. So that's a little bit disappointing, and I'm sure we'll hear more about that as time goes on. But unfortunately, it seems like some of our fans are not behaving as well as the rest of them out there tonight in Belgium. But anyway, we're going to stick to the football for now. Coming back to the game itself. Rio, Manchester United, Brentford, Genk again tonight. We're conceding late goals again. We had a little spell of this, didn't we, a while back, where it looked like the concentration was lapsing a little bit. Are we kind of slipping into that area again now, or is this just a bit of a coincidence?
I think that tonight's just a bit of a one-off. The the level of the opposition aren't nowhere near as good as what we face in the Premiership, where you have to be switched on 90 plus minutes every game. Tonight, it was an unfortunate own goal. It was a fantastic finish, but it was unfortunate. And I don't think you can really categorise this particular event as the same as the Manchester United one and definitely the Brentford one. I think it's just one of those things. League games, I think, would be more disciplined, more mentally up for the game. What I do worry about is that tired minds are creeping in. I think that's what's cost us in those league games. Tired minds, tired bodies. You switch off for 1 second and you're done for. Tonight's just unfortunate.
Okay. Gnome, would you go along with that, or do you think there's something more concerning at play here?
Yeah, Rio's right. The mental side of the game is. I mean, you know, if we got out and won that 3-4-0 tonight, just picking a score at random, anybody who played tonight would want to be playing against Manchester United. While you're winning, then you'll play 3-4 times a week or something. It's when things aren't going your way, then if you lose on Thursday and then you lose on the Sunday and then you get into a run of that, for example, you suddenly start feeling tired, whereas you might be playing the same 90 minutes on the Thursday and the Sunday when you're winning, and you mentally you don't feel that tired at all. So, I mean, let's take a step back here and look at what we've got. We're on the brink of qualification, and I still think we'll top the group. I don't think Rapid Vienna are any great shakes at home or away. I don't think they gave us anything to worry about at home. We were saying earlier on that Genk had a couple of moments before we tore them apart, but I don't think we did with Rapid. I think Rapid really gave us any hassles, and a win there, I think, will see us top the group. And we go at the Zagreb game. We play some exhibition stuff if we want, but it's disappointing. I think we're as at fault as perhaps the players, because we've all gone here thinking, we're going to win this easily. Genk ain't too much, and if that's transmitted somehow to the players, it shouldn't do. Moyes should be making sure that they treat the opposition with the right level of respect. But at the end of the day, we sort of rolled up our sleeves, and second half we certainly had the right attitude. And one little freak own goal. Well, but for that, we're already through. So just set back. We'll put that one to one side. Let's think about Liverpool at the weekend.
Okay. Well, we shall come to that in due course. We'll have a little chat about this Sunday's game before we crack on. Before we do that, Rio, we were talking a little while ago about going to the forum to see what our fellow Hammers were saying. So good time now, I guess, to do that. Let's go and see what the immediate reaction is to tonight's 2-2 draw.
First of all, I'm just going to touch on the reaction to Souček's own goal.
Okay, good stuff.
And forgive me for not mentioning usernames, but there's a few. I'm just going to rattle through them.
Okay.
I thought he was due a goal. A bullet header for Souček. Cracking header, just the same as in the wrong net. Well, at least Souček's managed to rediscover his goal scoring touch. This is a bleeping great header. Bloody hell, we can't score a goal for us at the moment. Then he does that. What a header! Wow, what an amazing header! I don't even feel disappointed that it was such a great goal.
Yeah. So
well done, forum members. Bit of appreciation for a quality header there, despite the fact it was wrong end. Yeah. Okay, so going back to the post-match reaction from people on the forum.
Yes.
Gary's put, I wanted to win so much so we could rest players in the other two games. but the draw means we can't. Good point there, Gary. Paolo Paul, what a great game of football. We could have been 2 or 3 down early on. In the end, we're unlucky not to win it. Lanzini and Benrahma were very good, and Rice was quality as always. Hopefully, this is the last game we see Noble on free kicks and corners. Happy with him in the team, but please leave the set plays to Cresswell. Okay, Polar, what a great game to watch, but just can't help thinking we were very unlucky to not to get more goals. The ball just won't run for us. Vic Watson, what a game, all action and a fair result. Morocco Roll, again, it's put a brilliant game of football, which is largely the consensus on the forum. I mean, I thought, I probably viewing it through claret and blue tinted spectacles, I thought the first half was appalling and the second half was more in line with everyone else is saying. GSB's, but far better with Souček, Fornells and Bowen. Lanzini suddenly had targets for his passing. We could have easily have romped in the second half, but poor misses from Soufal and Dawson. There are plenty of other nearly moments. It just proves we have a dozen or so incredibly good players, but then a number who are below, at best, lower Premiership quality, which is why we need the likes of Lingard in January. Another very good player who we would have added to the squad this season, more than someone who might come good next season. And Simon 1982, an excellent game of football and great for the travelling fans to see us get back in the game and score a few. Yeah, everyone seems to think that was a magnificent game of football, which in hindsight it was, particularly for the neutral. But they put us for a ringer, don't they, at times?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't know. Perhaps we obviously saw it differently because I mean I kind of sitting here not reflecting on what I thought was a magnificent game of football. I think that's probably because of what you're saying, Rio. The first 45 minutes was pretty horrendous from a West Ham perspective, wasn't it? And you know, it's certainly enjoyable in the second half. It would have been even more enjoyable, of course, at Souček's own goal not hit the back of the net right at the end and sort of slightly spoiled it. But there you go. It's good to see everyone's happy anyway, I suppose. I mean, if everyone's pleased with the point, who are we to suggest otherwise? Gnome's just been listening to David Moyes, I think, on the telly box.
Yeah.
Was he happy or was he a bit cheesed off too?
No, you probably had your volume turned down there, but you might have noticed a bit of a smile on his face, and he was quite positive about the thing. He said the first 20 minutes, we were poor, but we grew into the game. The second half, it was all us. Genk always capable of causing us problems on the break. The own goal was unfortunate, but we're unbeaten in, I think he said 6. And there's a bit of confusion as to whether or not we've actually qualified. And he seemed to think somebody had told him that they had, but right. I think that's been corrected now. But he said a stage if we haven't qualified is, well, we want to qualify the next game and we want to top the group. So, BT seemed obsessed in trying to find out what, if anything, David Moyes has had to drink to celebrate his 1,000th game, whether or not it's beer or red wine or whatever. But it was just a case that he said, "Oh, well, I might think about a glass of red when the international break comes up, but I've got a big game at the weekend to think of first, and big game and pretty much bring it on." But he seemed relatively positive. More so than the players that were interviewed did, Rice and Cresswell, who were both slightly cheesed off. So, but let's not minimise this point. It is very important to try and win the group, because winning the group puts you through to the last 16. Whereas not winning the group, coming second, I think you end up possibly having to play somebody who's dropped out of the so-called Champions League.
That's it.
Could be there's some very big names likely to do that. You certainly don't want to finish third and end up in the sort of Europa Isthmian conference thing that's below us, where you're playing on sort of council pitches and things like that. So, but there you go. Anyway.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, of course, just on that point about having to potentially play a playoff to qualify by finishing second. You've got some big teams potentially falling into that category. I mean, Leipzig, who snatched a draw, I think, last night, didn't they, against PSG, struggling to qualify. Barcelona, another one who could be dropping into the Europa League yet, the way things are going. It's there's some, as I said, there's some big sides, and you certainly want to avoid draws like that. No, I've got your favourite stat for you, the XG, expected goals, which is quite interesting, actually, because even though the match finished 2-2, Genk's expected goals score was 1.12 and West Ham's was 3.28, which I guess indicates, how dominant we were statistically anyway, if not in terms of goals actually scored.
How critical we were when it really mattered.
Yeah, exactly. Very good, very good. General stats, possession-wise, 50-50 split. And in fact, it was very, very even throughout. Genk, 14 shots in the end, 5 on target, which, as Gnome correctly pointed out, we believe were all in the first half. West Ham, 15 shots, 7 on target. Genk, 4 corners to West Ham's 5, and each team committing 8 fouls. So it's pretty damn even across the board there, which would suggest that 2-2 was probably a fair result on the night, even if we feel a little bit hard done by having led 2-1 with only 3 minutes of normal time left to play. Sad to see some more comments coming on with regards, and more negative comments coming up on social media with regards to some of the chants being heard in the away end tonight, which is, as I said before, which is very disappointing, and I'm sure we'll hear more about that as the hours and days go on. We were hoping to get the Pink Palermo on the stream after the game. He, of course, joined us before the game and at half time, but he did mention that there was a possibility he might not be able to get on because there'd been some issues perhaps with the home fans perhaps misbehaving. So we do hope, Pinky, if you're out there, that everything's all right and you and the West Ham fans are all okay, and that you managed to get away from the ground all right. And who knows, perhaps he'll be able to join us before the end of the stream. Moving on, gentlemen. Man of the match. We haven't done that yet. I suppose this is a good time to do it now. No, I'll come to you first. I think I know what you're going to say anyway, but I think for once Declan Rice might not get it.
Yeah, it's Ben Rama all the way. He was the one right thing that we had, really. Just everything good came through him. And Genk couldn't cope with him running with the ball. And when we made those substitutions, it wasn't just him. We had Bowen who could run at people as well. Fornals was running at people. And but Ben Rama was doing all the way through. David Moyes was very happy with him. He said, if you take the goals out of his performance, he still did very, very well. And it was, stuck out. I mean, as I say, even discounting 2 goals, definitely. Okay, excellent. Rio, Ben Rama, for Gnome, how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm going to go along with that. First half, Ariola had a very good first half, kept us in the game somewhat, but everything good in an attacking sense for West Ham come through side Ben Rama. In the second half, he stepped up, had a better calibre of play around him, 2 goals, very lively, very good job tonight from side.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to buck the trend slightly because I'm going to go for someone else, just to make it a bit different, really, because I think Ben Rama was clearly the standout outfield player for West Ham tonight. But I'm going to go for our goalkeeper. I'm going to go for Alphonse Areola as man of the match because didn't really have anything to do in the second half apart from pick the ball out of the net. But if it wasn't for a couple of really, really good saves he made, I mean, as early as like the 8th and 9th minute, we could have been, Genk could have been out of sight. There was a really good save from Onuachu's header, wasn't it? There was 2 in a row. One he tipped over the bar, and then the point blank header, which he managed to save and also push wide of the goal, which was absolutely fantastic. A couple more saves towards the end of the half. So I'm going to give it to our keeper because I felt if it wasn't for him making those saves, we and Ben Rama's goals wouldn't have made a difference because the home side would have been home and dry by that point. So yeah, Ben Rama clearly the standout outfield player tonight, but a little bit of credit to Areola. Although, of course, there were some people on the forum, weren't there, Rio, who were suggesting that he might have been. They felt he was at fault for the opening goal, which I'm not sure any of us saw. Did we?
Yeah, I didn't think he was. I just thought the defence was culpable for that, and more to pinpoint anyone, it's a Diop. But there was a huge gap between Dawson and Diop. They exploited it to perfection. Yeah. And yeah, from that kind of angle, you might have expected him to do a little bit better, but I don't think there was any fault, mate, for Areola there at all.
Okay. Rio, you've just sent me a little stat via WhatsApp. Do you want to tell everyone what it says?
Yeah, no. Thomas Souček has played trying to think, over 107 league games for both Prague, Slavia Prague, and West Ham United, also for the Czech Republic. I think I'll debate that. I think he's played a lot more games than that.
Yeah,
but he's had 3 career own goals, all whilst wearing a West Ham shirt, and also it could technically be 4 because he got the final touch when Lacazette pulled one back in the 3-3 against Arsenal.
Yeah, during
lockdown, and he got given to Lacazette, but Tom actually had the final one. So it's kind of 3.5, 4 career own goals, but he's excelled at that since he joined us.
He certainly has. I was trying to think of the other. I thought it was 1, but 2. But can either of you guys remember the other 2 own goals?
Tottenham, and West Brom.
West Brom. Was the West Brom one that's similar to tonight's, the header?
It's not.
Well, no, he misjudged the corner apparently, and nodded it past. I think I'm trying to recall the actual thing. I'm going to just watch it now to refresh my memory.
Okay.
I don't. He certainly wasn't as bullet headery and kind of Bob Blatchford-esque as this one was tonight, but
yeah,
it's not available at the moment. But
typical. Let us know on the live stream if you remember that goal. I think actually I'm not thinking about a West Ham goal at all. I'm thinking about, was it the one that we got at Everton the other day, which was quite similar? The corner come over near post in it, and we nodded it on. It wasn't Souček at all. Anyway, ignore me. I'm going nuts. But anyway, if you've seen either of those goals, let us know what you think. What was your favourite Souček own goal out of the 3.5, as Rio points out, has scored so far? There you go. Before we go, we're going to wrap up fairly soon anyway. But a couple of things before we do. I'm going to give you the final scores from the Europa League tonight, and also news of goals in the ties that's still taking place. Galatasaray 1, Lokomotiv Moscow 1, that one finishing in a draw. Sociedad 1, Sturm Graz 1, the Spanish side coming from behind there to earn a share of the spoils. Genk 2, West Ham 2. Of course, I've been watching that one all night. Rangers recovering from a goal down in Brøndby to secure a draw. Lyon, comfortable victors over Sparta Prague, winning 3-0. Legia Warsaw were 1-0 up against Napoli, ended up losing 4-1 at home in the end, which sounds like they must have had a horror second half, because I think that was 1-0 at the break. Eintracht Frankfurt stealing a win in Greece tonight, beating Olympiacos 2-1, and Monaco and PSV finishing in a goalless draw. Some ties taking place currently, and one that's very, very relevant to West Ham United, being played in Zagreb. Dinamo Zagreb took the lead after just 8 minutes in that tie. Nash Mulner scoring the opening goal. But I've just noted that the Austrians have equalised. I'm trying to see who scored that goal. I can't find it right now. But anyway, it's 1-1 in Zagreb. And I think, would that put us through? I'm not quite sure. That would leave all of them on 4 points. So there's no way that we could be overtaken then, is there?
All permutations have been thrown my way. BT was certainly reporting that if there's a result in that game, one way or the other, that we'll definitely go through. We'll be guaranteed at least second, I think, was the inference. So, but we'll certainly get out the group. But I mean, if it is a draw, then what does that leave everyone with?
All got 4 points if it
Yeah,
stays.
all got 4 points. We've got 10,
Yep.
2 games to play. So not all. Well,
They can't. Well, the two of them could theoretically get to 10 points, presumably,
yeah,
if they both beat us and then, win one of their other games,
yeah.
or both
Because
beat.
they're
I think it can be
playing
done.
tonight again, aren't they? So they won't be playing each other again. So it'll
Yes.
be if Zagreb presumably got Genk to play, we play Genk next match while we play Rapid.
Yeah. So if
So,
Zagreb win and beat us, they're on 10. Genk win.
No, well, let's say that both Rapid and Zagreb beat us,
Okay.
and then they both beat Genk.
Yeah.
That puts us and the other
All on
two
10.
all on 10 points.
Yeah. So it comes down to goal difference at the end of the night. Well, I'm saying that. Is it goal difference or is it, as they do in Europe, generally against, that particular team?
Yeah.
Not sure how the Europa League works. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. As long as we go out and win our next game, we
I
should
think
be
it's
Rio,
first position in the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's I don't know. We're top of the group anyway. We're 6 points clear, so that's I guess the most relevant thing to come out of tonight, as things stand. Finally, gentlemen, let's take a look ahead to this weekend. Top of the table clash. This one, is it first v fourth or second v fourth? Isn't it? I think Liverpool is second at the moment against joint third. I mean, let's call it what it is, chaps. Joint third place, West Ham at the moment with Man City. No, we can't look at this one and I think rule out the possibility of PGMOL's finest having an effect on this game. We've seen it so many times over the years, but trying to sort of take that out of the equation. What are your thoughts ahead of this one? Big game for both sides.
I mean, they always get a rub of the green, don't they? I mean, the good news is that it ain't Mike bloody Dean. So that's the best news that you'll get.
Who is the ref? Has they been appointed already?
Yeah, Craig Coulson, I understand.
Okay.
So I haven't looked at what he's done for us recently. I don't think Percy's at that stage of the preview writing process at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, what the players were saying, well, let's just go for it. We've got a week off afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? Now, I don't know if the highlights I saw of the Brighton game last week. They started off like a train, sort of Liverpool, and looked very irresistible. But in the end, Brighton were very unlucky not to actually win the match. Late goal ruled out for, I think, a fractional offside sort of thing. So it's they're doable, and for all the media sort of hype about them at the moment, you have to say that a lot of their wins have come against sort of poor sides or potentially good sides playing poorly.
Yeah.
You look at the fives they've got. They've played Norwich, they've played Burnley, they've played Southampton, they've played. But the games they've dropped points in are Manchester City, Chelsea, and Brentford and Brighton. So, we've seen Manchester City. We haven't seen Chelsea yet, but we've seen Brentford. And, I'm sure. I think if those teams can get something out of games, damn sure we can. So, I'm minded to go for, if you want a prediction out of me, I'm minded to go for a 2-2 draw. But, with the usual caveat that if that's not what Craig Coulson wants, then it won't be. So,
All right, fair enough. I'm just while we were chatting there, I've just pulled up Paulson's stats for this season. He's officiated 7 Premier League games so far, a total of 26 yellow cards and 1 red card. I'm just trying to see who he sent off. It was it was a Leeds player. I'm not quite sure who it was or when, but I can tell you that much. He's also done 2 World Cup qualifiers, a UEFA Nations League game and a Europa League tie. in total. So it's 11 games in total, 40 yellow cards altogether, 2 red cards at an average of 0.18 per game and 3.64 yellows per match. And he's given an average of 22 fouls a game, which is, I suppose, it's pretty standard on level with anything. We've not really had any issues with him before, have we known? Pawson doesn't really speak to my
head. But, they're all much of a muchness, really. They're either, but whilst on the subject, I'm beginning to wonder whether or not at some stage last season, after yet another calamitous self-promoting wrong decision by Mr. Dean, if we might not have adopted the approach that some other teams have taken and politely asked that he never be allowed to darken our doorstep again. It has, I mean, obviously, nobody will ever admit that if they're asked that a referee doesn't go somewhere, that, PGML will never admit to agreeing to that.
Yeah.
But I know Southampton did with somebody last year. It might even have been Dean. And if that's the case, the PGMOL have been sort of quietly not giving him our games, then I'm all for that.
Yeah, for sure. Wayne Charlton on the live chat says it is indeed a 6-pointer this weekend, but not like the ones I'm used to. Very true,
Yeah.
very true, Wayne.
Not preceded for once by the word relegation.
Yeah, indeed. Steve Palmer saying, yes, strange territory at the moment. I can tell you that the red card that Craig Paulson gave was, as I said, a Leeds player. And guess who their opponents were?
Liverpool, yeah. Must be.
Yeah, Leeds 0, Liverpool 3 on the 12th of September. It was Pawson, his only red card. And the player sent off was Pascal Strick on the hour mark. Apparently, not quite sure. Sorry, Rio, have I just stolen your thunder there? Were you going to come in with that?
No, you carry on.
Okay. All right, good stuff. I'm going to come to you anyway, Rio. Sorry. Liverpool, West Ham United v Liverpool, 6-pointer as the chaps on the live stream have pointed out. How do you see this one going?
I'm entering this weekend with a lot of trepidation. Liverpool in excellent form. They've got a front three who are backfiring as they have done for most of the last 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
We've got a very tired-looking squad. Picked up a couple more injuries, obviously, since last weekend in Vlasic and Yarmolenko, which is why they didn't feature tonight, probably. And the man in form at the moment, Mo Salah, up against Aaron Cresswell, possibly, who, yet again, hasn't had a break from first-team football. I just fear for us a little bit, I've got no doubts that we will not produce a performance like we did in the first 45 tonight. I just fear that their pace, their power, it could exploit any kind of weaknesses we have. I think Moyes will get the mentality right. It's just whether the legs and the minds are there and switched on fully.
Prediction, Rio?
I think we'll probably succumb 2-0, unfortunately.
Okay. I think I'm kind of with Gnome on this one. I think I can see a draw. I can probably see Liverpool going in front, and at some point there's bound to be a really contentious decision from the officials which goes against us. You never know. It might go in our favour. We've had quite a few of those. Interesting. One of the things I've noticed in the last few weeks on the opposition view is fans saying that West Ham are now getting the decisions because we're seen as one of the stronger teams in the division, which I'm not sure I've necessarily seen that.
Talk us through that nightmare performance by the officials against Villa then.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was a lot of the Villa fans were making that point, which was kind of quite ludicrous, really. But yeah, there you go. Maybe that's just one of them things you see every week. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, I think, which means none of us are particular. Well, hopefully, as we were so overly confident, I mean, all 4 of us predicted a win tonight. Hopefully, as none of us are predicting a win on Sunday, it will go the other way and West Ham can surprise us all for a second game in a row. But yeah, there it is. West Ham United v Liverpool. It's a top 4 clash. We can say that genuinely now, which is pretty mad, I guess. Just goes to show how far West Ham United have come in the last few months, really. Just briefly going back before we wrap up, Going back to Vlasic, David O'Rourke has kindly pointed out on the live chat. Sorry, David, I meant to come back to this earlier, but it slipped my mind. David pointed out that Vlasic was out tonight because he's suffering with concussion. Didn't point out when that happened. I hadn't seen that. I don't know if either of you chaps were aware of that, but there you go. That's why Vlasic's out. Still no word on Yarmolenko, though, I don't think. No.
Yeah, no, I've not heard anything, and I suspect his days are beginning to be numbered with us. You know, he's obviously in cracking form with the Ukraine national side, but if he wants to be playing for them, they'll only go for so long.
Yeah.
With him just getting cameos off the bench before they'll, they might. I mean, I say scoring for fun for them at the moment, so they won't drop him yet. But couple of iffy games for them, and if he's not playing regularly, is that going to affect his international career? Quite rightly, he'll want to be playing more regularly than he's getting games with us. So
it's like Yossi Benayoun all over again. It's like Yossi Benayoun all over again.
Yeah. So, maybe January.
Yeah. Well, not far away now, is it? Only a few weeks till the next transfer window opens. But that is just about it from us tonight. Chaps, final word. Rio, first, would you like to sum up tonight?
In hindsight, disappointing, but half time after our performance, you would have taken the point, wouldn't you? So let's look at the bright side. We're virtually qualified. We're still unbeaten in our first proper European campaign for far too long. Look on the bright side, people.
Excellent. Thanks, Rio. Gnome?
Can't better that, really. We'd have taken a point at half time. The fact is we were so much better in the second half that disappointed not to get all three. Need to be a bit more clinical. Park that one away. Let's look forward to Sunday. I said earlier on.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your company, as always. Not quite sure if we're going to be doing a show on Sunday because the chaps will be at the game. We'll have to see. I will let you know in due course of course, on the KUMB.com forum, which is where we're all going to head to now to have our say on what we've seen tonight and see what the rest of you have made of the game. Do join us there. And of course, to discuss anything else relating to West Ham United Football Club. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel down there somewhere and give us a like if you've enjoyed what you've seen tonight, because apparently it helps us out somehow. And that's just about it from us tonight. It's finished. Genk 2, West Ham United 2. West Ham have lost our 100% record in Europe, but we remain unbeaten. And of course, we are still unbeaten away from home in any competition since mid-April, stretching back nearly 7 months now when we lost 3-2 at Newcastle. I think it was the last defeat on the road. Absolutely incredible. It is a great season so far for West Ham. And let's hope it carries on that way this weekend. Big game, top 4 match, as I said, between West Ham United and Liverpool at the London Olympic Stadium on Sunday. If you're not going, why not join us here or on the KUMB Forum? Have a great week, folks, and we'll catch you all again soon. Until then, come on, you Irons.
Night all.
Right, so we're here in the offices of a Late Late Show with the host of a Late Late Show, James Corden.
Hi.
Big West Ham fan.
Yes. And big knees up Mother Brown, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm regularly on the general discussion page. There's always someone who's got some information, so I love it. Yeah. It's great. Yes, it's excitement surrounded by imminent disappointment. That's what it mostly is.
Get on the forum at kumb.com. Come on, you Irons.